Hello everyone, I've got Matt Walsh back from ESPN Footy Tips, mate. I think we can just call you Matt Walsh now.
Sure.
Just the usual Matt Walsh.
But if you want to give a plug to ESPN, feel free.
Absolutely, mate. We will. Well, welcome back. The fans loved your content. They loved having you on the show.
Good to be back.
We've got the microphone as well, which is good, so the sound should be a lot better. Mate, tell us a little bit about your experience for footy last week.
I didn't get to go, unfortunately. I was in the office, so a bit of yelling at the TV involved, as per usual. Bit of a scrappy game, really. Both sides kind of couldn't quite settle as well as you think, but the D's managed to settle earlier. Again, Carlton left themselves too much to do in not enough time, which is always going to hurt. And another 5-goal lead kind of got away from them, and then they weren't able to drag it. Well, they were able to drag it back, but I mean, when you leave yourself sort of 5 minutes to try and hold off the D's, you know, things are going to happen, and unfortunately they couldn't get the job done. So
100%. The first quarter especially was
hard
so bad to watch. But I mean, look, you know, we've had the emotional reaction. It's all done. You know, sort of looking ahead to this week, and we had a bit of a chat here. We're at training. We've got a bit of news, a few injuries, a few guys that didn't train. Mitch McGovern's been on the boxing bags for the majority of training.
Yeah, didn't have his boots on.
Don't know if he's going to play, but it's good to get the reps into the arms for him.
Get the heart rate up.
Jacob Wiedering didn't train.
He won't play.
He's got the bandage on the nose, broken nose. And
of course, these guys will probably know before we do because the teams will be out soon.
Correct.
In a few hours, but
correct.
Yeah. Huey Goddard will make his debut.
Yes.
Which is a good story after doing his Achilles when he was with the Saints. We saw Matt Kennedy hobble off as well with a bit of an injury. We weren't quite sure what it was, but it looked like it was his right leg. I think we saw that was
a bit of a limp.
Bit of a limp.
I don't know. Yeah.
So that's a bit of a shame because he looked pretty good last week, I thought, and he's sort of building on the half forward flank. So that's a bit of a shame. So it could be 4 changes, 4 maybe more. Who knows?
Yep.
For this week's game, but
good to see Cripps at training. No bandages on his knees. Just right in the thick of it.
Looked good. Was vocal. Classic leader. So he'll be a much welcome addition to the midfield as well.
Yeah, for sure. And looking ahead to the game, what are you sort of earmarking as some of the key themes for us?
Geez, I tell you what, it's not often I say I'm happy to see someone out for Sydney, but Callum Sinclair always kills the Blues. We'll always sneak forward and kick a couple of goals. We'll tend to dominate hit-outs as well. So for him to be out, I mean, we saw last week, Zach Clark for the Bombers couldn't quite dominate even without Callum Sinclair on that side. So, I mean, Cruz is a much better ruckman than Zach Clark is. So if he can take advantage of whoever Sydney bring in, if they bring in anyone. I get the feeling Sydney didn't bring anyone in last week for the Bombers because Zach Clark was in. He's, you know, Bell Chambers was out. Clark's not a huge ruckman, so they thought Aliir, he'll get the job done. Reid could get the job done. So hopefully they stick with that same squad as last week, and Cruz might have a field day.
Yep.
If he can sneak forward and kick a couple of goals, I think the Blues are in with a real shot.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, like I said, we spoke about it off air, but Sydney are one of those teams that they let sides in. You get your opportunity. It's just going to be a matter of whether we can do it. And also, good point you made earlier was obviously Cripps in. The boys have played without him. Maybe there's a bit of confidence from both ends. So the midfielders who are used to having, you know, the big brother there to go and clean up the mess, who have had to do the job. And now, you know, from his side of things, he can maybe trust the likes of Setterfield, Kennedy, if he plays, you know, Lang and whatnot. So very interesting.
I think the worry, though, is, I mean, you hope that just because Cripps is back in the side, the others don't go, oh, great, he's back, we can take the foot off the gas a bit. You hope they all sort of continue on their form lines and sort of don't let up now that Cripps is back in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. What else, mate? What else? Any themes throughout the week that have caught your attention?
Yeah,
anything
I mean,
you want to bring up with coaching? And there's been a lot of discussion around there.
I wouldn't believe anything Chris Judd says on Footy Classified. I mean, a few weeks before Brennan Bolton was given the boot, he categorically said they wouldn't be firing him before the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I think Judd's a smart man. I don't think he just goes on there and either lets slip or says intentionally something that is true. I don't think it is. I think, look, we've still got 8 weeks left in the year and then an off-season. I mean, you obviously don't want to leave it too late after the off-season, but there's so much water to go under the bridge with the coaching dilemma. I mean, you just sort of look at what Reece Shaw's done with North. I mean, things can change. If Teague wins another 2 or 3 games, Judd will be eating his words on air.
Yep.
So, look, I wouldn't read too much into what he said on Footy Classified. I mean, with Goddard in and Wiedering out and Marchbank out now, you think be a bit tough for the Blues down back, but Sydney's forward line's young and inexperienced.
Yep.
I mean, Blakey's been really impressive down there, but no Buddy. Reed will have to do some ruck work, so they might even have to throw him back. And McCartan's the other one who's an inexperienced body, probably played less than 20 games. So, I mean, the defence will be a little bit undermanned, but I dare say the Blues should be able to go with them, all things considered.
Completely agree, mate. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Looking forward to the next time.
Always
and
good to
go
come
the
out and see
Blues.
the Blues.